Hey everybody. Welcome to Brooklyn Squad. What it do, what it do. Hello everyone. Welcome. Hold on, let me just get everything going. Uh, okay. Okay. So today we are doing an interview. I'm going to put up Natural. She's going to be joining us. I'm going to pull her up right now. Actually, she is here in the building. Hey, pretty lady. Oh, do I see Christmas lights, Christmas stuff back there? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? No, no, it's
Yes.
not. It's not Christmas lights. It is too distracting because if it is, I can turn them
No,
on.
I love it.
Thank you. Can you
It's
see me
so
clearly?
pretty.
Because I'm not.
Yes.
Okay.
No, you look good. I
Thank
see it.
you.
I thought I see like a Christmas tree or something. I don't know what it is, but I love
Not at all. Not at
it.
all. 1 second. Let me turn this light off. It's probably too.
It's so
It's probably too
pretty.
bright. Thank you. Give me just
You're
one
welcome.
second.
So everyone, today we are going to be interviewing not one family member, but two family members, right? Whose son is missing from Washington D.C. Now, I have never touched out of a case from Washington D.C. before. It's usually Atlanta, Florida, Texas. So Washington D.C. I have never dealt with any missing person case out of there, and I didn't know about this case until Natural had brought this to me. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You're
And
welcome. I got in contact with the family basically through TikTok on my missing in Houston, Texas TikTok page.
yeah, TikTok is a huge platform. And the family is here today, so I'm going to bring them up because Antonio has been missing for a few months now. So it's important that we get his story out. Hello, ladies. Hey, beautiful
Hey,
ladies.
hello.
Hi.
My mom is hopping back in a second.
Okay, no problem.
Hey, honey, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
You know how it is, hanging in there.
Hey. So we have Natural here also, who I know you are familiar with
Mm-hmm.
because she brought me the case.
What's going on with your phone, mother?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm here.
I
We're
don't
here.
believe
I'm
I
just
spoke
fixing her
to
phone.
the. What was that?
I said we're here. I'm just fixing my mom's phone.
Okay. I don't believe I've spoken to the mother as of yet, but I did speak to her daughter.
Okay.
So this is my first time actually interacting with her.
With the
The
mother.
mother. Mhm.
So I have spoken to the mother for a long time on
Mhm.
FaceTime, and I've spoken with the sister as well. So welcome. Uh, first of all, I want to say that my heart goes out to both you ladies. I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I couldn't even imagine. I really couldn't even imagine. Tell everybody who you are.
Ooh. So I'm Letitia Robinson, and I'm Antonio's younger sister.
The youngest, okay. And this is his beautiful mother.
I'm Tracy. That's my oldest son.
Okay. And can you just what happened to Tony? What's I want to do a backstory first.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about Antonio.
Well, Antonio, he's really a kind-hearted person. He's a loner, kind of keeps to himself. But for the most part, he just has a big heart. He just likes what he likes and does what he likes, and it's limited to mostly indoors. So, he's a homebody. He
Mm.
likes being on the computer. He likes video games, things of that nature. But like I said, he's just a gentle person. You know, he's not out hurting anyone. He's not, an angry person. He just likes to be in his own space.
Okay. How old is Antonio?
He just turned 39 August the 23rd.
Okay. And he lives in Washington, D.C., right?
Yes.
Can you tell everybody who he lives with?
Well, he was living with his father's mother. His father was an only child, and he's his father's only child. Uh, I got sick some years ago, around 2009, 2010. So I wasn't able to work and take care of myself because I was fighting a brain tumor. And I went to live with my daughter, and she helped, with my care, taking care of me. So Antonio was living with, us at that time, but he went to stay with his grandmother, his father's mother, and that's where he's been since then. But for the most part, he lived with either myself or my grandmother, my mother's mother. But my grandmother's passed on now. So that's where he's been all these years.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Natural, you wanna?
Can you tell us like a little bit of Antonio's history when it comes to his medical issues, him being albino, what he suffers with, and what type of care he needs?
Well, Antonio obviously was born with albinism.
Mm-hmm.
So he has really sensitive vision.
Mm-hmm.
With that, with albinism, they don't have pigmentation in their skin. So, the sun pretty much, it's like a laser going right through them. So for the most part, if you see him during the daytime, if he's out, he's going to have on sunglasses and possibly a hat to kind of protect himself. Um, that's the bulk of, I guess what keeps him in the house, because, going outside is kind of complicated because you have to depend on resources, and he's an independent person. He doesn't like to, but he can't, drive, obviously.
Mm.
He's light sensitive, and obviously at night he would be impaired because it's too dark for him to see with bad vision, and glasses doesn't help a situation like that. Antonio's been wearing glasses since he was a new baby, literally a new baby. So he does a lot of, or he did a lot of like online ordering in Amazon, for an example, DoorDash, that type of stuff, having his groceries delivered, things of that nature. So he pretty much learned to fend for himself by having things delivered.
Mm.
But I honestly don't know how he was functioning shortly after we moved to Texas, because I don't know, he had some type of mental breakdown. And from there on, he just started disconnecting, not just from my daughter and myself, just in general. His whole state of mind wasn't the same. And I was here in Texas because I caught COVID, but my COVID turned into long COVID. So it left me again with a severe disability because I can't work. I don't have the physical strength to do what I would need to do or what I was doing. I had to actually shut my company down because I wasn't able to work and take care of myself. So I'm not sure what happened to Antonio, but bipolar runs in my family. And my mother's bipolar and schizophrenic. So I don't know if that, like the switch came on and he just, began acting out, or was there signs and I just didn't understand the signs. But he just stopped talking to me. And started saying things like, I was working with the feds and I was trying to set him up. And he would say all kinds of erratic things, but it wasn't just to me because uh, I have a young lady that reached out to me as well and on Facebook Messenger asking me, was he okay, saying that he had pretty much around the same time did the same thing to me. And that started in February of 2022. So from that point, Tonio's probably been really quiet. The only person he would probably would talk to, he would talk to me here and again, but the main person he would talk to would be my daughter Letitia. Um, for me, it was limited. Everyone else, I'm just assuming he just cut them all off.
So I do have one question with his vision. Do you feel as if he'd be able to move around on his own, or do you feel like he would need help
He
to
can
move around on an
so
everyday basis without assistance?
he can move around on his own,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be complicated for him. Like, say for an example, he called Uber and say, you know how the streets are, well, you don't know how DC streets are, but say that the driver has to park, on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It could be two white cars there. It's going to be complicated for him to figure out which car is this driver in.
No, he's definitely gotten in a
No.
vehicle before out with my brothers. And the vehicle that he got into, they actually attempted to pull off with him, and my brothers had to like fight through that situation.
He got in the wrong vehicle
Yeah,
coming out of the
that
store.
he was getting back in the car with my siblings.
So he, Antonio was just starting to
Pretty Quinks.
exactly at 30 something years old. So he did travel to the Philippines, but in order for him to do that, I had to take him to the post office. I had to take him to get, all his documentation, his passport and stuff sent off. And, we would take him to the airport. We would know his destination and what he has going on in his plans. And we would pick him up and he would communicate or send a picture or, a view or, something about the trees or whatever was exotic to where he was at, opposed to where we're at. But as far as him, like, say, getting on a bus, even though he can't drive, that would be very scarce. I don't even know what would convince him to get it, to do something like that. So he would, I think that that's something he just wouldn't put himself in a position to be in. Now, I'm not saying he can't see. I'm saying that his vision as he got older had gotten worse. So I don't know what it is now. But I know as he got older, he did less. Now, when he was younger, he rode a bike or went out and he had accidents. But as he got older, all that stuff, pretty much stopped.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
but
okay.
I raised Antonio not to allow that to um minimize what he does,
Mm-hmm.
but looking at it now, him getting older, as we get older, we become a little more cautious about what we engage in. And I believe that's where he is at this precise moment. He's at that point where, he's pushing 40, he he's not gonna go out and do the same things he would have done before.
I think you said something. Somebody said something before.
No.
I was asking since his
No,
disappearance.
someone did say something when I had called the
No, she's
police.
asking if someone said it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You can continue. It's okay.
You go ahead, because I'm pretty sure, it'll come up.
No, I heard
So
somebody say something before. I think it was natural. I heard an echo there, but I heard
it's
somebody say something.
she can continue. I know it's a little echo on here, so it's kind of hard for
It's
me to hear
okay.
as well.
You're
Mhm.
good. I did hear somebody say something though. It was you, natural?
Mhm. I think I was asking since his I would say disappearance because we don't know where he's at this time. Has there been any type of communication, any social media interaction, any phone calls, text, anything?
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, don't forget
So,
he sent a bat signal to his cousin.
One of
That was
his
nice.
cousins reached out to a young lady that was helping us, get the information out there, and
mm-hmm,
saying that he wasn't missing, that
mm-hmm,
the reason she knows is because, well, this is what was said to me because I didn't even get involved, that he sent a bat signal letting her know he was okay. Now, what that means, I don't know, because her reaching out to the young lady that she reached out to at that precise moment was really strange to me because this girl has been posting since this all began with us.
mm-hmm,
On top of it, she was even there when we flew in and went to DC and did a search around the neighborhood. She was with me. We separated into a couple of teams. She was with me. She was the one running across the street, knocking on doors,
Mhm.
going up to the dudes that was hanging outside. You know what dudes I'm talking about, the community dudes, that's hanging outside doing whatever they're doing.
Mm.
Um, she was the one helping me get the flyers out. She was aggressive. And now what? So why are you reaching out to her? Because she's been involved the whole time. Why? And this particular cousin has my cell phone number. So if you know something or you've seen something or you've heard something, we reached out to her. She said she didn't even know he was missing. So why wouldn't you reach out to me and say, hey, we heard something?
And that's where I want to get into also. I want to get into what happened to Antonio.
Mhm.
Tell everybody what happened to him. What happened to your son? What happened to your brother?
That's the thing. We don't know. According
Well,
to
you
his
don't know, but
grandmother, right? According to his grandmother, she came
right.
home. He had groceries still in the bag on the floor. All the lights were on. She had the nephew go upstairs to see if he was upstairs. He went upstairs. He was not there, but he left the heater on. And she kept re-innovating to my mom that he left a bag by the heater. I guess that was her way of saying, oh, he could have burned the house down. Which again, if a person is packing all of their things and leaving, if I'm packing and I'm leaving, I'm not buying groceries. What am I buying you groceries for?
Right.
Furthermore, why would I leave the heater on? Or why would I leave something by the heater to potentially burn down the house? Like that just doesn't even, that's not healthy. See what if I'm leaving, I'm taking all of my stuff, my groceries, and I'm not grocery shopping until I get to my new place.
And you have to keep in mind that she said she hasn't seen him since March 21st. But she first said to me she came there April the 21st. Then she later said it was March 21st is when she last saw him because she came there because she actually had been staying out Guest Virginia with her sister because of whatever issues my son was having, and I guess they felt like they could take care of her there. They couldn't watch over her in DC. I guess they all have jobs, of course, and family. But I guess she had her nephew, her sister's son, bring her back home. She said she had to come home because she was meeting someone to do some work in the basement. So I didn't think of anything of it because I know she's had issues with the house forever since she's been in the house. So we're talking 30 years. So I thought, she was referring to like a pipe bursting or something in the basement, because of the winter. And, that's something she mentioned to me before. So I didn't really think nothing of it. But then she, you know, kept changing things. So I called her one day and I'm like, hey, Miss Campos, I'm just calling to check on you guys, see how everything's going because she had been out Virginia and he was staying in her house in DC. And she said, oh, I haven't saw Tony. I mean, I went to the house on April the 21st. He wasn't there, but when I walked into the kitchen, he had groceries there that he was putting away. And it looks like he was putting away, but I didn't see him. So I sent little Tony upstairs to see if he was upstairs. He came back down and said, no, he wasn't, but he had an electric heater on and a bag in front of it, and that could have caught on fire. And he had all the lights on, and I'm getting all these, all these high bills, high water bill, high electric bill, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm like, okay, so you said you haven't seen him. when was this? She said, well, I came to the house April the 21st. And I'm like, okay, it's July.
Mm.
What is going on? Why wouldn't you reach out to me? And she said that, everyone thought that maybe he came to stay with you and Letitia in Texas. And, she's kind of rambling on with her conversation. So at this point, I'm in shock. So I'm going to my daughter and saying, look, Miss Campos saying she hasn't seen Antonio because we were just there the end of March for my father's funeral. And I had went to the house to try to talk to him, to see if he would, at least talk with me, which he wouldn't. Um, but
Well, you didn't even see him to say he would.
right, he did. I knocked on the door, knocked on the back door, windows, everything. Stood out there for a while. He would not, he didn't talk to me, and
You don't know if he.
that's if he was even there. I'm just assuming because he never goes anywhere that he was there because when we were there, someone came to the door, opened up the screen, but I guess when they saw us coming, they must have closed it and closed the front door. So I didn't see him. I just assumed it was him. My son said it was Antonio, but now that I'm thinking back, he was further away than I was. So I don't
Mm.
think he saw Antonio. He probably just did just what I did. We assumed it was Tonio. This has been something that's been going on for almost 40 years. Antonio being at that door when you come to it, or Miss Campos. So if Miss Campos wasn't at the door and she's out Virginia, we assumed it was Antonio. So she went on with her story. And so got off the phone. I called the police in DC. My daughter is on the phone calling police, trying to see what information we can find out. How do we file a missing persons report? They would not do it. They said she had to do it. Reached out to her. There was a few calls in between that because after the first phone call with her, things didn't seem right. So then we started recording.
Mm.
And so she kept changing her story. It went from April the 21st to serving him March 21st is the last time she saw him when she came there with the police. And then it changed to May the 21st or the 19th. So we're already going into three different stories.
Mm.
So in the interim, I did at one point ask her, Miss Campos, well, is his stuff still upstairs? And she says, well, I don't know, Tracy, because I don't go upstairs. Miss Campos has one bathroom upstairs.
Mm.
So even if she don't go upstairs, even if she has a potty, she goes up. You get what I'm trying to say? We're
Mhm.
talking April, May, June, July. You haven't been up them stairs in all these months.
Right.
You know, use the bathroom.
Something's not right with whatever it is. And I'm not making any accusations. I'm just stating there's some blurry facts. So again, we asked her because the police wouldn't do the report for us. Then they said they were going to do a wellness check and they were going to go there and get her to do the report because she said she would. They go there, she refused it. But she didn't just refuse it. She threw a lot of salt in there in the wound. She said, oh, um, Antonio has gang friends he's affiliated with gangs in California, the Bloods and the Crips, that
You're not going to be affiliated with.
he just leaves and goes and travels. She did any and everything that she could to deter the police from writing that report. She said that he left on his own. You gave him a handwritten 30-day notice, not a court notice. Now this went on for weeks. So we decided, we got to a point where we could get the money to fly home. So we did. That was the end of July, early August. We fly home. We leave the airport. We pretty much ended up at her house. Tried to talk to her again, tried to get her to call the police. Make a long story short, we called the police, had them come there, since now they're saying you have to be here so we can
Mm.
file this missing persons report. The police officer comes, but she sits in her truck for a while and she's parked at the curb. So I just stood there and waited for her to get out. When she did get out, she said that Tonio had been escorted off the property. Now she might have said March 27th. I'm not going to say it was because my father's funeral, so I could be, kind of getting those days mixed up. But it
Mhm.
wasn't the 27th. She said the 21st. She said that Antonio was escorted off the property by the police. Now I'm baffled because we've been talking to the police for weeks and this has never come up. So I said, well, where did this come from? Because this is the first that I've ever heard anything like that at all. And I need to know. And she said, well, I was just reading that while I was sitting in the truck when I pulled up. That's what took me so long. I was reading through the reports. I said, well, I like to know when this, when did all this happen? How do I get this information? She said, well, give me a minute because I'm just looking into it. I was responding to the call. I'm going to go back in my truck. I'm going to read through the reports, see what we have, and then I'll come back and talk to you. So I waited maybe 30, 40 minutes. But when she comes back, she has another officer with her that she said is her supervisor. Now, as I try to talk to her or continue our conversation, because I'm trying to file this missing persons report, he cuts me off.
Mm-hmm.
He literally put his hand up and cut me off, basically took a phone call, walked off. So now Miss Campos's nephew pulls up and this little girl got out and went over to her and he was coming up. So the officer at this point went over there and said, oh, she's a pretty little girl. And I'm like, okay, let me keep my cool. So I kind of step away because this is not professional.
They don't care.
This is not professional. She's talking about how pretty this little girl is. Your supervisor then shushed me, stepped off, took a personal phone call. Then, or is it a personal phone call? You get what I'm saying? Because something's not right with this. Because she was supposed to come back and tell me whether my son was escorted off this property or not. But I got shut down. So then the supervisor comes back and he's holding a conversation, but they're not even referring to me. They're not even talking to me. They're talking to Miss Campos and they're talking to the nephew, little Tony. Nobody's acknowledging me. I'm just standing there. So I kind of step away because I don't want to, I don't want to make things more complicated by spazzing out. Like, what the is going on here? This is not looking too right. So I let them talk so everybody can get their, say their piece. So the officer says to me later after speaking with them, he asked me about my son's vision. He was asking me, can my son see or what was his vision? And before I could even say anything, the nephew, little Tony, comes up from behind me and says, that nigga can see. So now, it's starting to hit me even harder because I'm saying to this officer, I'm his mother. My son was born legally blind. He is disabled. And so he then turns around and starts talking to Miss Campos again. So he needed a confirmation from her to confirm me. And even she stated that his vision was, I guess, getting worse as he got older. So then he steps off again. So the female officer, we tried to start a conversation, or I was trying to have a dialogue with her. And she, but because she asked me, she started asking me some questions. I said, well, can we step back down there to where we started at by your truck? Because I don't want to, just because you talk to them, I don't want to talk in front of them. I called you for me. As we're, having that part of the conversation, then we start to walk off. The girlfriend of little Tony or the wife or whoever she is, she's mumbling. She's like, obviously he don't want to, he don't want to see you or he don't want to talk to you, something of that nature. So we're walking on. So I guess because we didn't acknowledge what she was saying, she got louder. She said, he obviously don't want to talk to you. He obviously don't want to see you. And I'm like,
and you obviously,
what is going on? So I still didn't address. I said to the officer, I said, ma'am, I don't even know this woman. I've never seen this woman a day in my life until today. So I don't know what she's talking about. Then the supervisor comes back, pulls the officer, and they start walking from the sidewalk to the street. So I start walking with them because I'm like, trying to figure out what's going on. He treats me like a criminal, tells me I need to go stand back over there on the curb. Then it went from there to they're not doing a missing persons report because my son doesn't fit the criteria.
Which, first of all, technically,
Wow.
the criteria for DC's missing person, if you are disabled and considered disabled, you automatically qualify as a missing person. It's not that he doesn't qualify, it's they don't want to do their job. Or they buddy maybe with the nephew, who knows? I don't care. Nonetheless, he definitely qualifies as a missing person. So what they're basically saying is that I can move you into my house. You live here with me right now. I could kill you. And when the police come, all I got to say is she moved out.
And
Case
that
closed.
was a whole nother
That's pretty much what they
issue
said.
because Miss Campos refused to let them search her house, or she refused to file a missing persons report because she don't want them to search her house. But my question is, who gave her that information before the police came and gave her that information? She had already had this information. See, when you're going through the motions, you don't really think about all these different angles. But Miss Campos, every time the police tried to come there, she denied that Antonio was missing. Now, again, this is Antonio's grandmother. He's the only child of her only child who was murdered, literally shot about 6 times, 2 doors down in the corner store from her house in front of his cousin. The guy just walked in and shot this man. This man laid out on the curb, bleeding in the rain with a white sheet over him. On the news is where I saw this because a friend called me and said, "You sitting down?" Because I was pregnant with my son Jeremy, and I said, I said, "I'm not. I'm out. I'm taking care, doing things." She said, "I need you to sit down," and she told me, and I turned the news on, and here he is laying in the outside with a white sheet on, and literally blood running down the side of, I mean, down the curve. So why would you not be concerned? You get what I'm saying? I can see if this woman did not know tragedy, then she would be a little naive. But she also has a nephew who was murdered. And from what I hear, they didn't just murder him, he was gay. They cut his private off and stuffed it in his mouth. So I'm saying to you, this woman knows tragedy. Why
Mm.
aren't you concerned? Why do
Right.
you want to deny the police coming in your house? It's not like you're a drug dealer. It's not
Any
like you're.
document? Is there any documentation showing that he was escorted off the property by the police
That's
officers?
the that's one thing, because
Mhm.
keep in mind when we flew in town, we that was that Friday, but that Saturday my daughter had put together a group of people to help us go in the neighborhood and walk around and search for him. Now, I say this, now absolutely not one of his family members came, and nor would they even communicate with me. And I've never had an issue. Now, when I say I've never had absolutely one harsh word with this family, never. Not the aunts, not the cousins, nobody. So for them not to want to communicate with me after we started, trying to get the search going, or trying to just, or finding out he's missing, that's sad to me. That's
If you
questionable.
don't think, here's my thing. Even if I didn't do anything to him, why would I sit and oppose his other relatives looking for him? If I have a friend stand with me, I don't care what transpired between me and that friend. If I can't stand you and I put you out my house, but if your mother calls me and say, I have not heard from my child, can you file a missing person report? I'm gonna do just that. I don't care what happened between us. If we not speaking, we not friends. I can't stand you. I'm going to file the missing person report. Period. The end. Because a mother is looking for their child, and that's the one thing I can do to assist. Do you need to come in my house? Sure, come in my house. I have nothing to hide. There's nothing here. Then, if I don't want to file the missing person report myself, oh, I hate you. I don't want to get involved. When the mother comes to do it herself, I'm not gonna be outside trying to debunk everything that the family says. Make the person that's missing look bad. Make the mother look bad. Oh, he don't want nothing to do with her. She was robbing him. How? From Texas? I got magic powers where I can swing a wand and all of his money come out his pocket to mine. Like,
And,
make it make sense.
and I didn't tell her, because my son was in her house helping her. My son Antonio had Amazon boxes piled to the ceiling in every stitch of that house. So for these people to bring this fragile 80-something-year-old woman back to a house that has no central air,
Dirty.
she can't go to the bathroom upstairs, according to, those are her words. And you got boxes piled up in the living room, the dining room, everywhere, the hallways, up and down. How? Why? So for some people that cares about, their loved one, why would you drop her off and leave her in that environment and not help her break them boxes down? So my two sons went in there and started breaking the boxes down. Then I went and started helping break the boxes down. When I say we were pouring sweat, we was pouring sweat. And when I called the police, I didn't say to her I was calling the police. I just was doing what I was doing. When she seen that the police was outside, my second son was in the house helping her still get that stuff straight. He said she kept calling the nephew to tell him to come there because I called the police. I guess he wouldn't respond and wouldn't answer, wouldn't respond to her texts. So eventually she got through to him and he told her he was working. So, in other words, he can't deal with her right now, I guess. And so when she told him that the police was there, my son said he was there in not even 5, 10 minutes. But he didn't come there alone for somebody that was working and couldn't deal with anything right then and there. He come there with a child and a woman.
Who pop in her mouth.
But what was your purpose on calling them there? You weren't in danger. There was no bickering, no arguing, no negativity. She didn't even know I was outside. The only thing I did was go grab them boxes out and brought them outside because it's too hot to be in there. And I brought them outside in the yard and on the sidewalk and helped break them down. And my son carried them around to the trash. What was your reason for why you needed to reach out to your nephew? What was the problem? Then he had two guys come around on them three-wheel bikes or whatever they are. You know what I'm talking about, these young guys driving. And I don't know what that was for because that was strange to me. If you there for your aunt and you there with the police, why you need to call somebody else there?
And then when the police leave, they come down and he dap them up and they leave. Like,
So that makes
that's supposed to be intimidation
exactly.
Or what they your protection, but nobody is scared. Nobody's intimidated. Even the cousin talking about go back to Texas, stop looking for him. I'm gonna make it clear just in case they do watch this. And if my brother is alive and he is well, and according to you, he's confirmed that to you, you can let him know I'm not going to stop looking for him until he tells me himself I'm alive and well. So if that's a lie that's being told, I'm going to keep looking for him until I'm 80 and gray. I'm going to keep looking for him. There's nothing nobody can say. There's nothing nobody can do. There's no lie you can tell. There's no police officer not doing their job that's going to stop me. I'm going to keep filing complaints and I'm going to keep filing reports and I'm going to keep doing what I can do until y'all do y'all jobs or y'all find my sibling or you figure out what happened to him. So you can save your breath, your time and your energy, your threats, or whatever you got going on. That's not going to stop me from looking for him. So if he is alive and he want to not be found and he want to not be bothered, then he gonna speak up for himself and he's gonna say I'm alive and well and I don't want to be bothered. That's the only thing that's gonna make me stop, and I'm gonna go harder as time go on.
I know that's right. Let me ask you a question. When you went to McDonald's, because I know there was someone was saying on social media that there was a sighting of him in McDonald's.
That was like months later or weeks, maybe 2-3 months later.
We never found him. We went there multiple times. We personally didn't see him. I had a friend, she said that she rode around there a couple times. She didn't see him. I had another friend that came out. Me and him sat outside till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, riding around DC, sitting at the McDonald's. The detective Long, he sits out there frequently and often at that McDonald's. He has not seen him. I mean, you ask the people in the neighborhood, of course, some people live by the I'm a mind my business policy, but they have not. There has been no confirmation that he has actually truly been seen at that McDonald's.
Not
and with him being albino and as distinctive and look as he is, I feel like if that was truly him, but how hard is it? And like I said, I'm not trying to accuse nobody of nothing, but I'm the type of person where I'm going to think through everything. How hard is it? Which also, this is something that the cousin said out her own mouth, where anybody can post and say they seen them, but they really didn't. They just saying that. So again, how hard is it for somebody that's trying to cover up something, say, oh, I seen him. He was at the McDonald's.
And I know you put flyers.
Yeah, that was strange because I even took a flyer and one of the guys out there took it around to people to see if anybody had seen him for me, just to try to, for all the people that we talked to, absolutely not one person can say that they seen him. And the majority of these people were people that were living out there, that were hanging out there. But you got a woman that said that she saw him, he was hungry, she brought him something to eat, and he did not know who he was. You got another woman that was communicating with my daughter, saying that her brother is out there, that he be out there with his brother, with her brother, but absolutely not one person saw him. I went
Never heard back from the girl. She said she
Bladesburg
see him all
Road,
the time, and when she see
Union
him again, she would
Station.
call. I've never heard back from that girl. I've even checked in with her. I've never heard back from that girl. She's never produced. Oh, I've seen him again. When I seen my brother, I was looking for my brother. So
In this particular McDonald's, they have security, police officer, somebody at the door. You can't even come in the McDonald's door unless you're making a purchase. You can't sit in there unless you've made a purchase because it's so drug infested in that area. So
Yeah.
if my son had been coming in that McDonald's, somebody would have recognized him.
Have Antonio ever done anything before? Like done anything like this before?
Never.
no.
Never.
If he
Even
go
when
out, I'm taking him to the airport. When he come back, I'm picking him up from the airport, or I'm ordering him a Uber or a Lyft to pick him up if I can't do it. He's not traveling and just leaving. And also I'm gonna know where he's staying at. I'm gonna know that he's leaving, and them saying, "Oh, he's in Nebraska." He's not in Nebraska. We have living family in Nebraska. We've reached out to them. I've had my uncle's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend actually post in chats out there. I've joined groups and chats on Facebook out there to have people post his flyer. And again,
and he has a friend out there that
exactly nobody has
I've
seen him out there.
also been utilizing, and my younger brother is out there. Nobody's in Lincoln is not a big place.
If he was there,
Lincoln is
it'd be
very
known.
tiny.
Yeah.
It's like a circle. That's about it.
Okay.
He's not out there. Even when he did go there, somebody would let my brother know. Oh, I seen your uncle.
Exactly.
I mean your nephew, because my brother's younger than him. But Tonio stands out. And for nobody not to have seen him around there in DC and Montello Avenue, you got to keep in mind that's where I went to school at. That's where I grew up at. That's where my father's family grew up at, was raised me at. And that's where Antonio's grandmother's been living since before he was born, and even now to this day. And nobody knows who he is. Nobody's seeing him.
And that's another thing. She said she gave him a notice. She needed to get the basement fixed, and she was selling the house.
That house has
Why
never been on the market.
You're still in.
Right, I was going to
like,
say that.
Just the stories, just they don't add up. Point blank. Period.
Well, what concerns
What?
me is that when we went there that Saturday to go around the neighborhood, my brother said he went and knocked on the door and talked to her, right? And she told him that she believes Antonio left when the police came and served him the 30-day notice. Somebody's coaching her. So what she did was she called someone once she talked to me, and they told her what to say. But again, if he was served a 30-day notice in March the 21st, and you're saying now you think he left, but you came in April, then you say, no, it wasn't April, it was May. But there's an electric heater going, all the lights are on.
That's what I'm saying. That doesn't. That's that.
That house
Not
is
somebody
so unhealthy. That electric heater would have one burned out, or would have burned the sockets out, or it would have caught a fire. Because according to the nephew, there was a bag in front of it.
Mm. Yeah.
Can I
So
ask what?
I'm sorry.
Can I ask what type of relationship he had with his father's side of the family? Was it a strained relationship? Did he have issues with the grandmother before all this transpired?
No, they call my son Bumby.
Mm-mm.
They don't even call him his name. This is the first that this is ever been any issues, and I've never had any issues. And that's the sad
She
thing,
also said
because
to Uncle Mark that she
didn't like
had
me.
ill feelings towards you.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I mean, you
Like,
didn't even know
that's
this.
never been an issue. She's never.
I got
like,
text messages right now that this woman is saying to me, "I love you, Tracy."
Right. So why now are you painting this negative pictures of people that, oh, you don't care for her, oh, that he don't want nothing to do with her, she was stealing from him, whatever the case may be. You ain't never had to steal from him. Let's clear that up, because I take care of her.
And let me
So
tell you something. If anybody knows Tracy, they know. Yeah, we can't even get into what Tracy will knock down some walls for her kids. Anybody that know me know I'm coming through. It ain't will or if, it's she gonna be there. I'm going to be there. I don't care what I have to do to get there. And as far as me taking care of me, I don't need to, no, I don't need to steal from none of my children, because guess what? I'm their mother and their father. So all I got to do is
you
ask.
would have to steal from him. You would ask, and if
All
you
I have
had
to
it,
do
you
is
would
ask.
get it. Like,
And even if I don't ask, my son would, you get what I'm saying, would look out for me. So
Did they give you a reason for the 30-day notice?
she
Like, did
said she
they?
was selling the house.
right, she was selling her
Oh,
house,
she's
and I
coming.
guess the person that she listed the house with, or whatever, her agent said that she needed to do some work in the house, and people needed to move out. Blah blah blah.
But see, that's a different story, because the reason she said she was getting the basement done was because the pipe burst.
Isn't she still living there?
She's still living in that house.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah,
She was
that's what I
selling the
was
house.
thinking
I
too.
mean, it's almost
Mm.
That house is,
you.
from what I've been told,
by now.
that house has never been on the market.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know, because I didn't go looking at it, but it was so many people, my ex-husband even went there, tried to get her to do the missing persons report. Um, so many people tried to do this report.
My sister-in-law tried to do the missing person
They would
report.
not do it.
So the police told you to come. They actually, they be pissing me off, the cops. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I have to
we had
say
to
that.
physically come to DC in order to file the
Right.
person report. They would not file it unless we were physically in DC and at his last known or seen address.
And they still didn't file the missing report.
So basically, what happened was we were filing a missing person report. They were in the process of doing it. I left to get something to eat and drink because we just came there that day. We've been up since early that morning. I had not ate, blah blah blah. So I said to the officer, because she said she was gonna be a while. She was looking and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna run down the street and grab something to eat. I pull back up. She's crying. I'm like, what's going on? That's when she proceeds to tell me that the cousin girlfriend had been basically being disrespectful, and because of whatever they were saying, and the cousin girlfriend, which you've seen the recording, making statements, oh, that she hasn't seen him in 14 years, he doesn't want nothing. I had to check the girlfriend, and I'm not even saying that to be disrespectful, because this has nothing to do with you, so it's best that you mind your business. Then after saying something to her and going back and forth, which again you've seen on the video of me literally going back and forth with the officer, because they can tell you anything and think that you're dumb and you don't know the laws.
Mm-hmm.
You, like, if you see in the video where he said, "Oh, attempt to locate a missing person is the same thing." No, it's not.
Right. I seen
They're
all of it.
absolutely not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
When she asked him what qualifies for a missing person, he started saying stuff like, "Oh, if the person need medication." If you get online right now and look up what qualifies for a missing person in DC, that is not correct. Just like I said, just by my brother being disabled qualifies him as a missing person. So eventually, after going back and forth, you hear in the video where he says, "Okay, I'll go ahead and do it," basically to shut me up, type of thing. Then they did it, and somehow it escalated from.
I called the next day. I called
And they demoted it. Yeah, right.
And the guy said it's not a missing persons report. They demoted it. Well, he didn't say they demoted it. He said it's not a missing person report. And I said, well, why is it not? Because this is what we were told. So he went and researched it and then called me back and said that the supervisor or the lieutenant, whoever's over there, them demoted it down, said it didn't fit the criteria. And I just spoke with him, say not even a good week or so ago, again, to see why haven't asked. He called me, but I asked why, why hasn't it been changed? And basically it's not going to be changed,
because the grandmother said, this is the exact words, have that on recording as well, they are not changing it because his grandmother said he moved out. So that's why I said, if a person lives in your house, basically what you're saying is you can kill them and tell the police they moved out. There's been no evidence of this person moving out. Nobody has seen from him. No one has talked to him. No one has heard from him or seen him. So to me, that doesn't make sense. He's indeed a missing person, and he's also a disabled missing person. What it boils down to is you don't want to do your job.
And see, there's another thing too that my son, when we went there that Friday, he went in the house and searched the house to see if Antonio had anything there. He said he looked in all the rooms. He said all of Antonio's stuff was gone. Antonio been in that house since he was a baby. How did everything that he had disappear?
How did you move out and nobody seen you?
And,
How did you move out with no help?
the neighbors across the street said they hadn't seen him in months. They said they didn't see him moving no stuff, no in everything. So even if even if somebody moved the stuff, they would have to go out the back door through the alley. Antonio can't go through that back door down all them stairs, them the metal stairs, and they're steep, and the backyard was overgrown with debris and bushes and grass and stalks of whatever because it hasn't been maintenance or trimmed. So, but he would still need somebody to help him because how's he going to move his stuff? What are you going to do?
Even if he left, he probably
And
would have left and not move all his stuff.
exactly.
If
But
he was just
my son said
yeah.
all of his stuff was gone. He said he even went to the basement. He said there was a hole in the wall, but there were no pipes in that hole, mommy. So I don't know what work they're referring to that they were doing. But again, that makes me wonder when Miss Campos called me in March, early March, late February, where they all was something did something already go on, begin. Because why all of a sudden you got to do work in the basement, but there's no pipes in this hole my son seen. And I also mentioned that to the detective as well. But then when
What
we
did he
got,
say?
I'm sorry.
What did he say?
He would go and check it, but
He nonchalant.
yeah,
I'm doing all I can.
Yeah.
I spoke to Social Security, so I'm thinking he went up to Social Security. No, he spoke to them over the phone. They wouldn't help him. I've been switched to the midnight shift.
So then they need to
So
get the case to somebody who's available to
do
actually
X, Y, and Z. And again, I'm not trying to badmouth anybody. I'm just stating the facts. These are the facts. And I said to him, if this was one of your sister, brother, aunt, uncle, mother, father, would you, is this how you would handle things? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get you to have some compassion for my son because y'all treating him like worse than you would treat a dog.
Mm.
He like a goldfish, but go buy another goldfish and flush that one down the toilet. So when we got back to, Letitia called to find out who the detective was that got the case. Because now we went from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So she calls, then the officer that she's speaking with says the same thing again, that my son was escorted out that house in late March. And I'm like, you're the second person that said that. What does this mean?
But when you ask them to verify or where's the report of that, crickets.
Nope. Shut it down.
Mm.
Shut it down. Again, that's two different female officers verbatim that said the same exact thing.
So
Did
again,
you ever try to go to the police station to find those reports because it should be, documented if they did go and
No,
serve him
we
paperwork?
went up there,
we went
but
to the police station.
remember,
But
there is no report according to them of him being escorted
okay,
out. So
there
we
you
did go
go.
up there. The only report they have, the only thing according to them that they have in the system is
The 30
the
day.
police officer being there when she gave him a 30-day notice. But there is no report, even though it's been mentioned, there is no evidence, there is no report, no nothing of him actually being escorted off the property.
So I know you're not accusing anybody, right? But knowing Antonio and how he is, do you feel as if there's some type of foul play involved
My
in this?
son has plenty of backbone.
Mhm.
Plenty.
Mm-hmm.
He might have albinism, but
Man,
I raised my kids. You gonna rock this together. We
Mhm.
all for one. We come together. We gonna lead together. Don't come running in this house talking about your brothers was getting jumped on and you ran. Don't do it. Y'all better do this together. So my kids is, my son is not. He's not backing down.
no, I think that
Not
the
from
grandmother wanted
something
him
like
out,
that.
and
But
the nephew
yeah,
or one of his friends. And I'm just gonna be blunt. My mom, you about to sit here and politely say it. I'm gonna be blunt and say it. I feel like they wanted him out of the house. He was not in the best mental state or condition, which I understand. If that, fair. She, even if she didn't have a reason to want him out of his house, her house, it's her house. So if you want to give him a 30-day notice and you want him to leave, that is fair. Go to the court, file for an eviction, and do it the proper way. But what I personally think is either one, they forcefully removed him from the house and maybe something transpired that way, or
Mhm.
two, in the process of trying to force him out of the house, something has happened to him. And that is why you're behaving the way you're behaving. Because I know for me personally, and to be honest, if you're a criminal, this is your behavior, you're being a dumb criminal. Because if I did something to somebody, let me tell y'all, and I'm not that type of person, so I'm not gonna murder somebody, but I promise you I'll be right outside of the missing person party, putting up flyers. I'm not gonna be bringing obvious signs to myself that I'm trying to stop you from filing a missing person report.
Mm.
I'm gonna be sure, absolutely, let me file it for you. Because why would I want to make myself look suspicious? Because your behavior looks very suspicious. I'm not fighting somebody's mother on a filing a missing person report if I did nothing wrong and I have nothing to hide. Because asking somebody to move out your house, there's no, I mean, there's nothing wrong in that. You did nothing wrong there. But in the process of actually forcing him out of the house, what happened? That man did not just get up, pack all of his stuff, and move it where? Where
If
he
he
moved?
did, if he did leave, do you feel as if he had somewhere to go or that he
He
could have
had nowhere
called
to
to
he's
go.
a
help
he's
assist
a
him?
he's an introvert, so he
No.
Mhm.
he might have had associates and friends here and there, but if the friends that he would have potentially had would have been in Nebraska, and again he's not there. We've already combed through that. It's a very tight knit community out there. I've personally joined Facebook groups myself. My brother's my cousin's my uncle's ex girlfriend has
Mhm.
even helped me as far as like trying to post his flyer in different Facebook groups and stuff that she's on. Again, like my mom mentioned, my uncle lives out there himself. Lincoln is small. If he was in Lincoln, my uncle would know that he was in Lincoln. If he is alive and well, my brother sticks out like a sore thumb. Somebody is going to see him and be like, "Oh, I seen him." Even going to the convenience stores and you're showing his flyers and asking, "Oh no, we haven't seen him in months. Or he used to come in here, but we haven't seen him in a long time." You ask the people in the neighborhoods, they say the same thing. "Oh, we used to see him. We used to be walking around, blah blah blah, but we don't see him no more." Or
To
even the
go
neighbors like, "Oh yeah, I remember he used to come out sometimes in the evening and walk around or blah," but we haven't seen him in a long time. That's the same story and scenario that you hear over
Not
and
the
over.
carry out, not the corner stores, not the liquor store where he get his Black and Mouse from or his wine coolers.
Or even his
Nobody.
social security check, right?
to the
How does
for
this
the
person know that we stopped his social security check? Because one of the things that we did before we left is we went down to social security with his missing person case information at the time, and asked them what resources do they have to help. After fighting with them, the man finally agreed that he could stop the check, and my brother would have to come back in and recertify to prove that he is alive and well to continue to start getting his check again. Now the cousin messaged me and said that, oh, we stupid. We just pissing him off more by stopping his check. But how would you know that? First of all, if I stopped his check and Social Security asked him to recertify, they're not gonna send you a letter saying, "Hey, your sister came up here and said," no, they're just
Right.
gonna ask you to recertify. So how do you have
It's
that
not even
private?
certified. He just need to
Right,
verify.
exactly. How would you have that information unless you know someone personally that will be able to give you that? I didn't tell nobody, my mom didn't tell nobody. So who is telling you that we stopped his check?
And the detective said that the paperwork that he saw, he took a picture of when he went to Miss Campo's house, and that it said as of July that he lives in Lincoln, Nebraska. Antonio,
Right.
there's nobody in Lincoln, Nebraska.
And if he lived in Lincoln, Nebraska,
Right.
his social security would have to be transferred to Lincoln, Nebraska.
I
Why
was
would
going
he
to
be
ask you about
sending
that.
the
He
notice
would not be
to
getting
Miss
social security
Campo's
from
house?
DC. So
Something's not right.
the math is not
Mhm.
mathing. How, and also I asked, well, how do you have to recertify or verify yourself? You don't have to physically go up there. So how hard is it for me to get a letter in the mail, see that this is asking this person to verify themselves and send in the documents? Like,
Well, it wouldn't be hard because any type of questions that they would ask him would be easy to answer because he has a small group. So the
right.
little
So that's the
Tony
point that I'm making.
was him and my son was his cousin and my son were like the best of friends.
Was
So
the Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I was gonna say so he would know a lot about my son because that's somebody who he
Miss
depended on.
Campos would know probably
Well,
all
no,
of that
she would,
information
but
as
I'm
well.
saying she would need a mail.
Right. So anybody could have mailed in to verify
I'm saying
himself.
a male who knows his information can call and do the verification and say, hey, my father is, or this, that, or the
You can
other.
just mail it in, and that's the problem. Anybody can mail that in.
So did they restart the
So
Social
they did
Security?
restart, but the my thing, because they won't move this to missing person report, they can't access and do certain things because it's just an attempt to locate, which is a problem. Because
Hmm.
to move it to a missing person report, they can actually get a warrant for Antonio's bank account to see, well, is he spending the money? Where's the money being spent at?
What store? What
Right. Is he
what
spending the money in
transaction?
China? Is he in Lincoln, Nebraska? Is he down the street? Who is spending the
But then it
money?
goes a
How's it
little
being spent?
deeper because the girl that helped us with all of the going out doing the search, she got a message from his cousin stating that that's her cousin,
And he not missing.
and he not missing when she was posting the flyers and the
Mhm.
information and the videos and all that kind of stuff of us, speaking and doing the Facebook video stating that, we here in DC by this McDonald's, and he was last seen, or said that he was last seen, yada yada yada. So she's helping us keep this stuff going too. Now she's been doing it from the beginning. Now all of a sudden she's getting a message saying this
No,
my
that's what she
cousin.
said. She said, "Small world. That's my cousin Antonio." She said, "Hey sis, his sister is like my cousin." Shaking my head, small world for sure. He's not missing. He just doesn't want to be found. She said, by his mom or sister. I think if he called and said he was okay, they would leave it alone. I don't know, but it's sad either way. That's the gist of their conversation. So she's saying to her that he's not missing. He just doesn't want to be found. She also even said under one of my mom posts, stop wasting, what she say, our tax money.
Right, I saw
Son
that.
don't want to be found by you. First of all, what tax money? Because whose tax money is doing anything for me? I don't get nothing from Social Security. I don't get a check from the government. I take care of myself. I go to work.
But when the girl, my daughter asked the girl for a screenshot of the girl's page
No, I just asked her what's her name. Her
or
social
whatever
media
she
name.
asked her, she was trying to figure out who it was that sent that. Because the same
Hmm.
girl has my cell phone number. I have text messages, and I even was calling, speaking with her before Antonio went missing. And we even called her after Antonio went missing, and she said she didn't know that Antonio was missing. So now this girl is saying that she don't want to be involved because she don't want to put her children and her family in danger.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, if she feel like she's in danger, why wouldn't my son be in danger? And why is this girl that's married to a police officer saying that she feels like she's in danger?
Right. Or here's even a text message from her. Y'all are fraud in keeping him. I told her, I said, stop bothering my mother, because it's after she posted stuff on your page. I don't care about none of the other stuff you said. Let's get to the point. Stop bothering my mother. He doesn't F with y'all. Y'all, I said to her, well, y'all are fraud. Like, he don't even spend time with y'all. All his time spent with us. He might have lived with the grandmother, but holidays, Christmas, birthdays, Mother Days, everything he spent with this side of the family. So if we were fraud and he didn't want nothing, the narrative that he don't want nothing to do with us, which I've literally shown you a message directly from my brother where he is saying, what can you move back because I don't want to be without you?
Right, I
Make
saw that.
that make sense. I'm gonna tell somebody I want them to move back because I don't want to be without you, but I don't want nothing to do. No, that sounds stupid. So then she said, and talk contacted, I guess she meant y'all contacted SSN trying to stop his money. Dummies. Bye. Go back to Texas and stop using our tax dollars. Again, what tax dollars? I pay taxes. I don't get nothing from the government. Not a penny. So I'm confused.
I have a question, right? To those that may be watching this and feel as if he had a mental breakdown and maybe living on the streets or living with somebody else, what do you say about that? Do you feel like it's a or do you feel like it's no possibility of that being the situation?
I think if he was, he would have honestly been found, because my brother sticks out like a sore thumb in the DC area. He would have been found.
Mhm.
Like he would have been spotted, he would have been seen, even where someone thought they seen him. It was another albino person, I think, that lived in that neighborhood. Or I can't remember if
Mhm.
he was
His name is
albino.
Anthony.
Right. I don't even remember if he was albino. You get what I'm saying? So people are saying, oh, I've seen this person, and those leads are followed up on. And it's not just followed up on like one day. Like this man is out there, I'm talking about night and day, sitting at these places where people claim to have seen him.
He's
And
going
I
to the
know he's really
shelters.
doing it because he didn't even know we were coming in town. We happened to be on our way to DC and just gave him a call and was like, oh, hey, we're in town. We're going to come up there. And this man like, oh, I'm already here. See
And
you.
that's the guy that's helping,
Detective
right?
Long. Right. So he,
Okay.
what I'm saying? Like he's really about his business. He's not a person that's gonna lie and say I'm looking or I'm
No,
following
this
up
man
on
was out
I'm
till
be
one,
out.
two, three
Right.
o'clock in the morning,
Exactly.
like
Wake
we
back up
were.
at 5 o'clock and get back out there again. That's
And
what he
not just
do.
my son, he had stepped off and went to look to help somebody else be found, and then was
Came
coming
back.
back. This man is, he's been around the clock consistent
So I think if
since
he was
he's
out there,
been involved.
I mean, and to be honest with you, and I mean this to not,
And he has a team as well that works with him.
yeah, I
So
don't mean this to be disrespectful to any friends or any loved ones, but this is just me being real. And this is why I'm reaching out and hoping that other people will help because my friends and my loved ones, my family, they're not helping. Even when it came down to me doing a missing person search, I don't care if it's sibling, cousins, aunts, uncles. I had one blood cousin, well, two cousins come out. Um, young cousins in my age group. One older cousin, Shalonda, came out. My uncle came out. My friend that has been helping us came out. And two classmates, one from college, one from high school. And these are people that we don't talk every single day. Like it's more like every so often, maybe on social media or something like that. Like, how's it going? How are you doing? For me to have so much family members and friends, quote unquote, if I'm posting somebody potentially seeing my brother at this McDonald's or this spot, please, if you can get down there and look, crickets. Nobody is helping. And it's not just the people, the police are not doing their job and not helping. We are not getting help. So it's like at this point, we're begging for any form of help. I live in Texas. If I lived in DC, I wouldn't sleep. I would be on DC, I would be outside in DC every day, all night long. When I am in DC, we're out there to 5, 6 o'clock in the morning looking. We're not just looking at the McDonald's where they seen. We're literally going down where homeless people, where people on drugs are at. We're out there getting down and dirty. We're looking. We're not just peeping. We're sitting out there for hours, crawling through neighborhoods, asking people how they seen him, putting our own lives at risk to find him. So if he's sitting out, if he's on the streets, I feel like someone would have seen him and this would have been verified.
I think if Antonio is in the streets, he doesn't know who he is. Antonio is not, you got people that have mental issues or have drug issues. They don't just cold hearted go to the streets. You get what I'm saying? They go out and do a little this and they end up doing a little that, and this happened, and now the consequence of it is no. We're straight saying that he left from a house that he's been in for 38 years to go cold turkey in the streets. When this boy has been sheltered his whole life, he's never needed or wanted for absolutely anything. Never. He has been shielded and protected his whole entire life. And now all of a sudden, he
That's
just
why I
goes to the
said, either
streets.
one, they put him out wrongfully, and maybe that's why they're acting off. But something transpired because you're acting
Well,
off.
let's back up
So
because this girl is saying that this cousin reached out to her, and this girl is saying now she don't want to talk about it no more. Well, that was going on because she don't want to put her family in danger. But her husband is a police officer. She lived with a police officer. She know these people. So that makes me wonder, was something going on that they had already, the group of police officers getting together and her being in the midst of a conversation. You get what I'm saying? Not knowing who it was that they were talking about. And now it's come to light that who they were talking about was my son, maybe. I could be wrong. I'm speculating. I'm reaching. But what would be the purpose on now all of a sudden you've been helping us from the beginning and now you're scared? But you're married to a police officer. So that means it got to be somebody affiliated for you to feel like they can get away with this. Because this girl is a straight gangster.
I will say
Well,
she's
one thing is
far from a
we
perfect.
have to try to get this case as a missing person case because it's not a Namus.
And that's why I'm bringing this up, because if this person is scared and she feels like her life is in danger, why would my son's life not be in danger?
Well, obviously, no disrespect, but the cousin ain't all there, because if you were all there, why are you attacking somebody's mother, talking about your son don't want nothing to do with you, telling people you stole from him or you was stealing from him, all of that stuff that you're doing. Like, clearly you're not in your right mind because somebody sent you a bat signal. Like, are you on the same drugs that he on? Make that make sense. Somebody send you a bat signal, but yet you produce 0% evidence that this person is actually alive and well. I would have just been like, here's the proof. He alive and well. He don't want to be bothered. Y'all leave me alone. If that was the case. Like, nothing that you're doing is adding up. And again, I wouldn't even have ever thought that anything transpired between him and his family had they not worked so hard to debunk filing a missing person report, had they had not started being disrespectful and putting you down and degrading you as a mother or a person. To me, I'm only doing that when I'm trying to cover up or hide something.
Hmm.
Because even if you weren't the best mother, which I'm not saying that, because you were a great mom, but even if you weren't the best mother, even someone who might not have been the best mother doesn't mean that they want their child to be murdered or missing or out in the street homeless. So just because somebody's a bad mother doesn't mean that, oh, now you're disqualified to go look for your son if no one's seen him or he's missing. Like, just the stuff that they're doing, their behavior is not adding up. To me, it's off-putting. You've heard videos, you watched certain stuff,
Mhm.
you've heard the story. Anybody who hears the story, they all say the same thing: is off-putting. So why is it that the officials and the police officers, or even the news, the guy called her from the news or whatever station was it, what,
He
something
said WUSA 9.
9 or something like that, got off the phone like, and whatever, never contacted her back. She's reached out to other people. They'd be like, oh yeah, share the story. Oh, we'll help you. Blah blah blah. Crickets. The help is not being given. The police are not doing their job, and it's, to me, it's the reason why they're not doing their job, because he does qualify as a missing person. I should not be able to say he moved out with no proof and evidence that he moved out, and ooh, okay, well, he's not missing, he just moved. That makes no sense.
And she said that he used a cart, a grocery store cart. But the grocery store cart was on Miss Campo's porch. But she, like I said, she's up in age. So she's not putting two and two together when she's doing the math. This shopping cart is still sitting on her porch. So even if Antonio used this cart to move some stuff, why would he bring it back?
Exactly. I'm
Mhm.
take my cart right on with me
So
then.
then she switched it up and said it's one of the ones that you buy from the store. No, you said the grocery store cart. She specified the cart that she keeps on the porch to use to move. Like, I guess if she got a bulk of trash or something. She told me this, but I think she just, and one thing is remembering, but the other thing is too, Miss Campos keeps notes in her phone. So I know that when she said one thing to me and then she went back, she said she had to go look at her notes.
Hmm. I just want to read the comments.
Mhm.
Together breaks. She says, "This is crazy. It has my mind going crazy. I don't think her son or brother would be comfortable living in the streets. I believe he would have reached out for assistance from y'all."
Yeah,
Yeah.
if somebody is saying, "Oh, your family is looking for you," they're out searching and begging and pleading for help to find you, and you don't want to be bothered, and you want the heat off of you, you want, hey, I'm good, roll out, leave me alone.
And DC is only made up of four quadrants:
Yeah, DC is
northeast,
not there at
northwest,
all.
southeast, and southwest. I've been through all of them. I've stopped. I've given flyers to the police. One officer said he was going to put the information in, I guess, a group chat of all the police officers.
Hmm.
I have stopped. I have went in the darkest of the darkest neighborhoods. We have Union Station where all the junkies, no disrespect to them, but you know what I'm saying, are, I
Mhm.
mean, they're everywhere right there. I went up and around through there. I was told about a shelter. I went up to the shelter. I've been so many places. So many places. Nobody has seen my son.
Exactly. And the
Nobody.
only way this is gonna be taken serious, I personally believe, is like, we need people like to really make this go viral, make this trend. and tag DC police,
I was gonna
tag
say that.
DC news, because
Mhm.
like people are reposting maybe a flyer that I post or even like my TikTok, and I'm asking in the TikTok to tag DC's news stations, tag DC's police, because that's the only thing that's going to get this hopefully taken serious. It's like, okay, if this goes viral and thousands and millions of people are reposting this and tagging them, then maybe they'd be like, oh, let me get some fire under my butt and take this serious. And we know the news probably don't care unless something's trending. They can get their ratings up. So maybe if this becomes something that people care about, then they will actually care about it. Because to call somebody's mom, interview her on the phone, and then never follow up, come on now.
That was horrible.
That's heartbreaking. You give this mother hope that, okay, I'm finally getting some help, and then even if you couldn't cover the story or you weren't interested, you could have just politely said, you know, hey, we're unfortunately right now we're not going to take the story on. But that's not how you, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you don't treat people like that. And it's easy for us to say because we're in the situation that we're in, but until you actually have a missing person, a loved one missing, you really don't know what it feels like, and you really don't know. It's like sitting in a torture room all day because you don't know if they're okay, you don't know if they've been hurt, you don't know if they're alive, you don't know if they're, you know what I'm saying, deceased. People never find their loved ones. They go the rest of their life searching and looking for him, and I don't want that to be my family story. Even if God forbid that my brother is no longer here living with us, I want answers. I need closure. I can't spend my life not knowing what happened to him, or is he okay, or is he alive. Like, nobody deserves to live that way. And I even had a friend, she was like, I mean, because to be honest, I kind of just stopped talking to people. I got a bit of a too, and I was just like, knowing my personality, and my mom will say, when I go, I go. So I just decided to shut up and not say anything until I know how to properly express my feelings, where it's not going to be insulting, or, you know, a person feel like I'm just coming at them raw, raw. So I just kind of stopped talking. And even when a friend reached out and I, you know, I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. And they asked, and I'm like, listen, my brother is missing. Y'all not even offering help. Well, what would you like us to do? If this is your love, and I'm not, again, I'm trying to not be sound disrespectful at all. What would you want me to do if your child was missing? If your sister or brother was missing? Seriously, what would you want me to do? If your loved one came out to Texas and they were in Dallas or specifically close to my area where I can drive and see, if somebody said they seen them over here at the McDonald's, would you want me to get up there and drive past there every every day, or as much as I can, even if it's 30 minutes out your way? Absolutely, you would. And I pray that God never puts people in the position that we're sitting in
We've been
today.
in that position when your cousin came here for a Dallas game and someone got her phone, called the number, and said that she was attacked in the bathroom.
Oh, I dropped everything, and I'm at
Turkey in the
Dallas
oven and
fighting with the
everything.
police, fighting with security.
In the
I'm coming up
hospital,
in the stadium
everything.
to get her, and I
We've
did
been
just
there.
that.
I've been there
So
so many
yeah,
times
but
before.
those were the same people that will not turn around and be like, "Oh, let me help you."
Gloria says, Gloria A, she's keeping you in prayer.
Thank you. Yeah, that's actually one of my friends that I was
that
telling you
helped
about
us.
that actually came out and like helped post the flyers, help be supportive. So we appreciate you and love you, Gloria.
Gloria A is definitely keeping you in prayer. We got Ray Batch who's here. He says, woo.
Woo.
Exactly.
Michelle Farrow is keeping you in prayer.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, sissy girl.
And together says, I am from DC and I know them police are lazy.
They lazy. Oh my
My
goodness.
prayer is here. My
Mean.
prayers are with you. My
Thank
prayers
you.
is here. It's fine.
Amen.
Yeah.
I feel like his
It
family
says
did the
if
right
people
thing.
should post maybe with my
Lakeisha.
TikTok story, or it's on my TikTok, it's on my Facebook, it's on my Instagram. My name is the same on all social media platforms, which is Letitia Elizabeth, Lateshia, and it's probably the last story I posted on is pinned on Facebook, and I think the last thing I posted on Instagram. But it's literally me just sitting there explaining his story and asking you to repost it, tag DC local news, tag DC police. Like, I know that takes just 3 seconds to do, but that is something that could tremendously help my family find my brother.
Your cousin was here. Lakeisha Cleveland.
My
She
cousin.
says, is that somebody's cousin? No?
Mhm.
Okay. She says, I'm so sad to hear this, cousin.
Lakeisha? Oh, yeah,
Lakeisha.
fake cousin. Okay, I'm like, wait, who? Yeah, listen, let me tell y'all about my cousin. I love her, but the girl got a new name every week. I had to go through like, okay, which one are we talking about?
She says, "Hey, loves." She says, "I
Hey,
love
cuz, I love you,
y'all."
babe.
She was in the building, yes. Police and resources. Montana Floyd says, police and resources, and everyone else is saying prayers. Neva is one of my subs. Neva says, "Hello, everyone." All right. Also, there is a group. Please go and support the group. I did make the group for the family. Okay. So they can come, they can share, they can come vent, share, talk about him, share his story. Also, any advice, any information that might be out there. I put the link right there. It's pinned in. You can see it as soon as you come in. It's right there pinned. Please go support the group. That's very important. I think that every missing person, I always say, let's make a group, make a group for them. Also, I posted him on Twitter. Is on fire right now. So if you don't have Twitter, please go and download Twitter, get Twitter. I think every platform would be good to just post him. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I think the biggest platform is TikTok, but Twitter right now is on fire. There's a lot of people posting his flyer. Is 166 people were sharing it. 166 was sharing, and 3.4K views or something like that. So it is getting out on Twitter, and Facebook and TikTok. So we're just asking that everyone, when you share, when you see his story, you see her talk about her brother's story. You see his mother out there talking about her son's story. You see any of us talking about him. If you see his flyer, anything that has him, please share it and tag Washington, D.C. News, Washington, D.C. Police. Tag, 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 tag. It's very important. Listen, the police is not helping. This isn't new to us, right? Brooklyn Squad, this is not new to us. We already know this. We know this. They never help, right? His name is not even a Namus. That's huge. We have to get his name he has to get a missing persons. It has to be missing person. It has to, because for that to be a nameless, it has to be a nameless. Because if he's missing out, let's say California, nobody would know, right? Because he's not in the database. He has to be in the database. That's very important. Natural, do you want to say anything else?
I was basically saying before that I commend his family for going out to Washington and
Mm-hmm.
trying to find their family member for one. A lot of families rely on officers to do their job. And I always tell families that have missing family members to go and put boots on the ground themselves and try to find their family members, because let's just be honest, we're just another number, just another number, because there's so many of us missing. So
Yeah.
we
I'm
just
working
have
on
to do what we have to do.
hopefully no later than January, but I'm aiming for December to try to see if I can put something together a little bit further in advance than the last time, and hopefully I can get more people to come out to help just circle different areas, neighborhoods, put up flyers.
Yeah. And you know what? We can get together on TikTok, and because there's a lot of boots on the ground when you go on, like when you go on social media, right? And you go on TikTok, I noticed that a lot of people are boots on the ground in certain areas. Like, I see Texas a lot, I see Florida a lot, and I'm sure they got DC. So once you start like telling your story a lot and stuff like that, and say, listen, I need boots on the ground. Can you meet me at such and such, blase, blase? You will get the help. You definitely would get the help. So we can definitely go live on TikTok and start doing that as well. So just let me know when you want to go out there, and then we just start putting it on TikTok, and so people can just start helping. They can meet you out there and just start going out there, and all the support is needed.
Yeah,
You
because this
know.
is really hard. I was watching on social media on Facebook this morning, where it was a lady was on there about her father, and she pretty much was saying the same thing. They was trying to elude that. Well, they didn't file the report because they said that he probably just wanted to get away. He was sick, and he just wanted to get away, and yada yada yada. And now here it is. They didn't file the report. Now they've done it. So she just did her blood, or her family's blood, put it in the system, and that's taken a long while. And and she was just going, and I was just listening to her story, and it was identical to what mine's was, or ours is. And it's like, wow, what is going on with these police? They get paid through our taxpaying dollars.
Mhm.
The least you could do is put the name in the system. Here it is, get ready to get cold here. Like right now, it's still like 70, 80 degrees here. But back home, it's not. My son is out there in the streets. If he is, he's cold. And if that's not the case, and they did something to him in their house, they
Mm.
done gave these people time to clean up the mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
They could remodel the whole daggone house by now.
That's all right. You can't hide from God though. So one thing for sure, two things for certain. He gonna make it happen.
Let's hope that's not the
Can't do that.
situation at all.
Yeah.
I most definitely have
It's
been
not.
rebuking and praying against it, but it's just, how do you go to sleep and wake up? I have not slept all day, all night. I'm struggling. It's and one day I just woke up out my sleep having a nightmare, just hollering. You know, I don't know, why would the police not want to do something? How hard could it be for you to do this, then to have this type of publicity? And then they say don't defund the police.
What were we paying for?
Well, I mean, not that I'm promoting that, but I'm saying I don't even feel safe with the police anymore at all whatsoever. When I'm around the police, I can't be. I mean, I've gotten a little bit better in the last year or so, but I started hyperventilating. I just don't trust them. They're like the enemy. And I'm not promoting anything. I'm just saying these are my experiences with the police. They have been horrible. They're not caring, they're not supportive, they're not doing their jobs, they're doing just the opposite. And that's sad to say. Because I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but I believe in guidelines, rules, regulations. Otherwise, people that didn't have a driver's license, they didn't take the driving course. Can you imagine how they be driving out here?
First of all, Antonio case, if they spent just 30 minutes on his case, if they moved him to a missing person and spent 30 minutes on his case honestly could be solved so quickly. Why? Because he gets disability. That is an advantage. All they had to do was check his bank accounts and the records of, is his money going to his account? Has
Yep.
the money been being spent? Where is the
Where?
money being spent? Like
How?
that, literally right there, that's a blessing in itself if they chose to do their
Yeah,
job. The
because
case would
if
be
if
solved
if
quickly.
he has a place, then guess what? You got to pay your rent. You got to pay your utilities. You got to go to a grocery store.
That's right.
I mean, he solely depends on. It's not enough money for you. It's not even enough money to travel or anything like that.
Right, exactly. So again, if they just care to do their job the right way for a day, his case is not something that would require a lot of time and energy from them. Just him getting disability solves his case quickly.
Mm.
Somebody's getting the If somebody's getting the money and somebody is spending the money, whether it's him or somebody else, it's going to be records of where that money is spent. Or if his money has been being deposited into his account,
And
but
not
he
being
ain't spent a
touched.
dime since April.
Then what?
Exactly. Like,
And Antonio does not have any children, so you know it's no one linked to him other than us.
Right.
Because obviously, from his father's side,
I mean, and my brother, he goes out to DC. He looks for him. He has not found him. He's like, so it's not like we have nobody out there attempting to look for him. If he's out there in, in DC or in the DMV in general, my older brother does go out there
But he's like
frequently.
2 hours
He
away. He's
doesn't
not
live
right
close,
there
but
in
he
the
does go
city.
out there frequently. He does look. My cousin has went out there. My aunt and my cousin went out there together to look for him. If he's out there, I feel like if we could get, like you said, more boots on the ground, then it will be harder for him not to be seen.
Right. You know, but who? Budget keeps Concord. Steve, she says, Steve, still praying for y'all, Brit City.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks to everybody. I appreciate any help, any resources, and most definitely appreciate prayers.
Yeah. Oh, um, Natural, you want to say anything else? No.
No.
No. Everyone, please share this video, share his flyer, join the group, but remember, hashtag Washington Police, Washington, D.C. News. Also,
Yeah, and if you go to my
let
Instagram
me,
and I want to say my Facebook, I actually had their stuff and probably on TikTok. They're actually tagged on my post. So you don't have to like actually like look high and low for them. Like literally it's tagged for you. So you could you could post it on your page and or reshare it on your story and just use those same tags.
okay.
Like I've already added them.
Let me ask you a question. If Antonio was watching right now, what would you want to say to him?
I would want to say, like, just let us know you're okay. Like if it's truly a thing where you just don't want to be bothered, okay, but let us know you're alive. Because I'm not going to stop looking for you until I know you're alive and well. It's really just that simple.
And I want to say, baby, I love you. And I don't know what it is that you're dealing with or going through, but I just want you to know no matter what, good or bad, I'm here for you. I'm always going to be here for you. My door's going to always be open.
We're just praying we can bring you back home. That's it, and that's all. We can bring you home.
Okay. And we're going to do the best that we can to help you, of course, and definitely keep you in our prayers, okay?
Thank you. We
Amen.
appreciate you and all that you
Whatever
guys do.
y'all need, I'm here for you. You can hit me up anytime. You have my number, so you call me anytime.
Well, we really appreciate you, ladies. You guys are
Um,
amazing.
I want to message you after this, ladies.
Okay.
Okay.
All right? Okay.
All right. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys.
You
Thank you for
guys.
everybody who got on
Welcome.
your watch and whoever's sharing in the future. Thank you. We appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Everyone, be safe out there. And don't forget, hashtag and share. Everyone, have a blessed night.
You
Peace.
too.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you, Natu, for joining so much. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you as well.
Okay. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night. Peace.
Bye.